Hey writers, welcome to lesson 7 for a writer's workshop. Something I really want to remind us of is that as we're working on our writing, our ultimate goal is to always become better writers. And one way we can do this is by using a checklist. So our objective for this lesson today is I can reflect on the progress I've made in my writing and use a checklist to see how I can improve my writing. Let's look closely at this checklist now so we can understand what's the expectation of my writing as I continue writing my memoir. What should I have in my writing? This checklist will help us kind of know what to work towards with our memoirs. Okay, so let's just go down the list here. A. In the beginning of your memoir, you make it clear when and where you are. So creating the setting in the beginning of your story. You stick with a first person point of view so we know who the main character is, which is you. You should be using I. And the events in your memoir unfold naturally and logically. That just basically means that your story is easy to follow, it's not confusing, and it flows. Okay, checklist B. Your memoir has dialogue, description, and your narrator, which is you, reflects about their experiences. So reflect on your thoughts in that moment, reflect on your emotions in that moment. These techniques will help develop your memoir. These are super important. Checkpoint C. You use transition words to show the order of events and to changes in the setting. So as you travel within your story, like beginning, middle, end, if you change scenes or your character, you go somewhere else, you're kind of allowing the reader to follow along with you and pay attention to what's happening. Checkpoint D, you use specific words and phrases, basically sensory language, to describe what things looked like, sounded like, smelled like. Just be really mindful with your word choice and as descriptive as you can. The last checkpoint, E, in the ending of your story, it's clear that your narrator, which is you, learned something important from their experience. So this is where you're going to reflect on the moment of your life you're writing about. So let's read this student example story. This is written by a student. And let's just read it. This is part of someone's story. And then we'll check it with the list. So the story begins, I stuffed my dirty shoes into my soccer bag. They're full of mud. I just got out of soccer practice. See you tomorrow, I said. We're definitely going to win the game, I told my coach as I headed to the bus stop. As I was walking with my bag over my shoulder, the windy spring air was rushing past frequently. When I was waiting for the bus stop, these girls that always bullied me last year walked up to me. They were waving at me. I wasn't sure how to respond. I waved back cautiously. This girl named Emily said, Hey Lauren, you want to go to the mall with us? I just looked at them while twisting my hair awkwardly. I said, Sure. I didn't know what to say. I was so confused. When did they start liking me? I got on the bus, overthinking as I stared at the window. I got home and got ready to go to the mall. I just put on a plain t-shirt and asked my dad to drive me there. I got there and I had butterflies. I walked in the mall and they were sitting down eating ice cream. They all had cute outfits on and I instantly felt out of place. Why didn't I think more deeper into my outfit, I thought. We started walking around and going into different stores. They bought stuff from everywhere and spent so much money. My mom had only given me $20. I lied and said I didn't think anything was cute enough to buy. I ended up buying a cute bracelet from Claire's. All right, now that we've read this example story, although we didn't read the whole thing, just a part of it, let's use this checklist to see what this story is doing well and what we could probably see more of, like how we can develop. All right, so in the beginning of the memoir, you make it clear when and where you are. So creating the setting. Yeah, we know that this person, the student, is writing, they're at soccer practice. So we have the when. We have the where. We don't really have the when, like when it's happening, like maybe what grade they were in or stuff like that. We do know it's first person, and they're really consistent. I said, I headed up, head to the bus. Okay, first person's there. That's doing a great job. And it's really easy to follow. I would say this is like 3.5 or 4. Your memoir has dialogue, description, and the narrator reflects on their experience. Lots of dialogue. In the second paragraph, there's dialogue, and the little third, lots of dialogue in here. It's really great. Description, right? Describing, I twisted my hair awkwardly. It's kind of describing what she's doing. Describing the fresh air in the springtime, and reflects on their experiences. So basically how they're feeling, what they're thinking, right? Why didn't I think about my outfit more? Yeah, so this does a great job of including all of those. Does it use transition words to show the order of events and changes in the setting? Well, we've only read a small excerpt so far. She did go from like soccer practice to her home, and then the bus. And then the mall. Got ready to go to the mall. My dad drive me there. So we can follow the flow of her story, but not that much transition. So kind of, but she makes it work. And does it use specific words and phrases? She describes a lot of things in her writing, but I say that she could probably do better with more descriptive words. Then we don't have this part yet because we haven't finished reading the whole story. Let's take a second and check back with this chart that we've been making as we've been writing our memoirs. We've been doing all these things. Just to review, think of a moment that matters in your life and write about it. Focus on small moments, write with details. Do not summarize. Your story should not be like 2 paragraphs. Like the piece that we just read, lots of little details. Paint a picture for your reader. So using small actions, I walked here, like twisted my hair. Dialogue and sensory detail. We also want to make sure that in our writing, we're providing important background information to our reader. Remember, this was your experience. You have all the information in your head, but for your reader, they don't know what's going on. So you have to give them background information to help them understand your story. Always make sure that you have dialogue in your story. And if it shows their personality, that's even better. You should use the words that were actually spoken by the person in your story. Make it sound like it's their words. Writers should also zoom in on small but powerful details. And this is the one that we're focusing on today, using a checklist to assess their writing. So what am I doing well, and what should I be working on? What are my goals? All right, so now it is your turn to use this checklist and read your writing again and see how you're doing, what you're doing well, and if you're scoring like 1s and 2s, those are areas you probably need to improve on. So read what you have written in your writer's workshop journal. You probably won't have all 3s right now, and I don't want to see you just checking the 3s box to be finished with this mastery check. Really look at what you've written and see what you're doing and how you're doing it. You will have strengths. Maybe you did a good job in the beginning, and you'll have weaknesses. I didn't have a lot of dialogue. That's fine. Right now we're developing our writing. So if you find that you don't have any dialogue or any quotes, this might be a goal as you move forward with your writing that you want to keep in mind and make sure I need to include more of this.